Hello and welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim with you, middle of the week, Wednesday.
What day is it?
What day is it?
I mean, if Geico didn't have the great commercials, we wouldn't have half the things to talk about or say that we do.
And,
well, you know.
And the camel is here.
Right.
Well, no, that's Ron. I'm sorry. But in any case, we do have a great show for you on this Wednesday. We've got Ron Moore, as usual, our resident historian that will tell us some history. That will may be truthful, maybe something made up, maybe a little mixture of both.
Maybe.
It'd be interesting.
It will be interesting, no matter what. Even if he's lying to us, it'll be very interesting.
He always makes it interesting. And we have Dan Howell with us.
Dan Howell's in the house.
Dan Howell's going to talk to us today about his campaign.
That's right. He's in the
running.
race. He's running the race.
He's in the race.
That's right.
He's in the race.
He's going to start kissing babies and shaking hands.
Or kissing hands and shaking babies.
That's not a good profile.
But anyway, so yeah, we've got a great show. And of course, we've got some things we need to talk about.
I'm sure you want to talk about the Dolphins.
Oh, sure. Well, why not? Why don't I, since you brought it up?
Since we've got a tattletale and a bully.
It doesn't matter about that. We just got a tattletale. As we heard one of Matthew's friends say, the bully part, that's any player in the NFL.
Right, that's the NFL, right.
Just a tattletale. However, did not hurt us this week.
No, it didn't.
We are still in the playoff hunt. We're right there behind the menacing Jets that we cannot stand.
No, we can't.
So if you're a Jet fan, I am sorry that you are a Jet fan. But we will see what happens in the next few weeks.
And on Facebook, Dolores, that's part of the Miami Dolphins, she just was all excited because Denver beat Kansas City, so it kept the 1972 record
exactly right.
intact. So
and we would have drank a glass of champagne if we had any.
That's right. That's right. So, but anyway, Peyton Manning has come through. Again, in so many ways, I mean, a lot of Tennessee people are Denver fans now. They're just following. They were Colts fans. They're just
now
following
they're Denver.
Peyton.
Wherever Peyton goes, they will become a fan.
Right.
Which is that's really kind of sad because I'm sure Peyton.
It's not.
It is sad. You got to be the fan of the team, not the player.
You don't have to be an idiot, though. You can be just a
well-rounded.
You can be a well-rounded fan.
No, there are no such things as well-rounded fans. It's either idiot fans or you're not a fan.
That's right.
But yeah, so again, we're in the playoff hunt. So in a few more games, we should find out for sure. Of course, my dad's still, Joe, so they're in the playoffs now, right? Dad, no, we're still in the hunt. I thought if they won, I said no. They're still right there. They're in the mix. Right. But you gotta, it's still whole half a season to go almost. So 10 games or 16. Got 6 more games.
All right.
So that and what else?
That.
And my Magic are not doing too bad, considering they were supposed to be the doormat. They're like, they're a game or two under 500, but that's better than being, not having any. Kim, it is interesting to folks that love basketball. And then, of course, we'll see what happens with the Marlins. Right.
Well, speaking of interesting, Mother will be here in just a
That
few
is
weeks.
interesting. Gosh, how interesting that is. I can hardly wait. Again, on bated breath, waiting, counting the days.
I know.
So she leaves. But she's going to be here.
She is going to be here on the 16th of December, Joe. So you have got just a little less than, a month before you have to straighten up and fly right now. Things aren't going to be how they've been for the past little bit.
Well,
no sassiness.
This is the
That's
great
right.
thing.
There's going to be a new sheriff in town.
Well, this is the great thing. I'm going
to
to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. One of the reasons why we have Dan on the show today is my mother-in-law is going to stay with Dan for about a week of that time. He doesn't know it yet, but he's getting ready to find out. They know each other, have known each other for years, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, so yeah. But I do love my mother-in-law.
Yes, you do.
And I am glad she's coming.
Yes, you are.
Because you do. You guys enjoy each other.
We do. We enjoy each other. That's my mother's, when
She's
she leaves, she always tells Joe that she enjoys it.
And I said, I wished I'd have known. I didn't even know I was being enjoyed. Wished I'd have known. I enjoyed you, Joe. All right. But she's coming, and she's going to come stay through Christmas.
2 weeks. She's going to stay 10 days, really. No, 2 weeks.
10 days, Kim.
Okay.
She's coming.
No, it's going to be, she'll be on a Monday, and then she goes home the
10
Friday, Friday after
Christmas?
Christmas, right. So Christmas is on Wednesday.
Wednesday?
No, Wednesday, Thursday.
I think.
Yeah, I think she leaves the 26th. She'll be, it's 10 days.
All right. Well, that's great. That's terrific.
There you go.
And a lot of people will love to see her
yes,
from
they
here.
will.
People that she's known many years, friends of hers. Okay. And the other positive thing that wasn't good enough is my dad isn't coming.
That's right.
This time around, You know, he's down there with my sister, my brother, and their families.
I know. That's on next Thursday, on Thanksgiving. That's going to be when it comes around to me what I'm thankful for. I'm using that.
What, my dad?
Yeah.
What do I get to be thankful for then? Your mother is coming.
That's right. So there you go.
So, all right.
It's karma. You should live better, Joe.
I know. That's the reason behind it. The Lord is punishing me by sending my mother-in-law. Is that how it works? I don't understand that. Does he know something I don't? I think he does. But anyway, so we got a great show. We got Dan in the house. We got Ron coming here shortly, and we're going to have a good show today. Now, we do need to also tell you this. Coming up in about, 2 weeks, maybe almost 3 weeks, will be the Main Street Cleveland Christmas Parade that we will be airing live here on WTMB.
We will. And then 100 million times after that.
Oh, goodness, yeah. That's just that
day.
If
you don't see it live that night,
you'll get to see it over and over and over again.
So, yeah.
And see, because the block party we're unable to put on because of the inclement weather, so we're going to make up for it by running the Christmas parade twice as much. So you get to see that. So just make your plans there. And as Mayor Tom would say, don't forget the Friday before the Christmas tree lighting.
Right, and the caroling. That's always
caroling,
good.
right?
Yes,
that happens.
It does.
And so we've kind of figured out, because it's reverse caroling, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And we figured out what that is. Reverse caroling, if you've never been, is a group of you go to somebody's house, you knock on the door, and when they answer, you go ahead. And they have to sing to you. That's how the reverse caroling is. Is that how it works? And if they don't,
let's just go to commercial.
You say trick or treat. Combine all of it in one thing. We are going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back with more Tennessee Valley this morning in just a few. So get yourself another cup of coffee and a donut, or a Danish, as Chris Free likes to say.
That's right,
and join us back here in just a second. Be right back.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in, or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Again, Joe and Kim Palo with you. As you know, it's Wednesday today.
It is.
All day long.
All day
All
long.
day, exactly. And we have with us our friend Dan Howell. And what you may not know is we go back with Dan a long, long time.
I was telling somebody the
Long
other day
time.
that in my wedding pictures, the formal ones, there's a picture of Carol and Randy and Rodney, I think.
Rodney, yeah. I think I was, what, about 19, and you guys were like 12 or something?
Something like
I
that.
was
We were all
15.
very young.
Well, I really was
My
17.
voice hadn't even changed
I
yet to tell
really
you how
was
you-
17 years old when I married
Yeah,
this
I
man.
remember your wedding in Orlando,
In
Florida.
Orlando, Florida, that's right.
Your parents'
and so,
house. It was a beautiful wedding, and everybody thought you were too young and it'll never last.
yes.
And look at you now.
I
That's
know.
exactly right.
I know.
They were
35 years- right. It has not lasted a bit. But it's got. But you just got married again.
That's right. Speaking of marriage.
Congratulations!
Well,
you
thank
know,
you.
and we have known Beverly. She was another one of us that went go.
One of us, it sounds like we're aliens.
Well, we are. That go way back. Well, it's a church family that
Yeah,
we were,
that's
you know, a
true.
part of that.
Course, people who are watching don't know, my first wife died of breast cancer.
Yes, she did. And Carol, miss her, miss
I
her,
was
miss
a
her.
widow for 5 years, I
Right,
guess.
right.
And as things happen, as God would plan it, I guess, our paths crossed. And, you know, we knew Beverly and her family, the Sperlings. We
Right.
knew, we went to church together, and we got acquainted again through a mutual friend. And someone was trying to set me up with a blind date. And I said, I'm not into blind dates. No, no, no. And so they persisted for several weeks. Finally, I got exasperated and said, well, who is this person? And they said, well, her name is Beverly. Beverly who? Well, Beverly Sperling. And I said, give me your phone number.
That's right. He knew her. He knew her. Well, Beverly
knew her,
is lovely, and
And we dated for about 8 months, and I popped the question, and it has been 17 months of just absolute wonderful bliss. She
Well,
is
that's
an
great.
absolute, she is a jewel.
well, that is great. I
He
mean, and
comes from
that's
a great
wonderful.
family.
Yes, and
Right.
she's
I
a
mean,
great lady.
you just rang in the bell twice there,
I
buddy.
lucked
You
out
just
twice.
lucked out twice.
I
mean,
don't know how I
see,
got so
Joe?
lucky.
He looks out twice. I
Right?
can't even
Look
get
what
lucky
he
once.
gets. I know. Look what happens with him. So you must be living a whole lot better than
I
him.
guess so, I know,
Holy
but no,
smokes.
we enjoy, we have the same interests. Of course, she's smarter than I am. She's a teacher. She loves to cook. I love to cook. We love to travel. We're both foodies.
Right.
There's just so many things that we like to do together, and we just we laugh a lot. We just laugh, and that's one of the joys of life is when you could make each other laugh. And she had
And become best friends.
She had, yes, and we truly have. She'd been single for a number of years, a lot longer than me. And she said, she told the Lord, said, God, if you just send me somebody to make me laugh and
Right.
somebody who would cherish me. And she says, apparently God did. So
Right? Joe makes me laugh every day.
yeah, he makes a lot of people laugh.
He does, but no, that
But
is
the cherishing
honestly-
part, we got a
But the
problem.
You gotta
cherishing,
work
but
on
he
that, Joe.
does, I mean, he does, and I tell everyone that if it were, I mean, honestly, there have been times that we've been in a heated, and Joe and I don't, swell up and pout. We fight.
Well, you get it out.
Oh, we
you know,
fight.
Then you don't
but
brood over it.
sometimes, I mean, he has just cracked me up right in the middle of, and I can't even stay mad. And so, but he is.
It's me, flubbing trying to get the gun loaded, and she's laughing at me. I'm like,
Can't even
"Forget
go,
this
no, I
dude."
know. Can't even do that right, for goodness
Yeah.
sakes. But anyway,
No.
but no,
It's
laughter
probably my
is
best friend,
a
yeah.
wonderful
Yeah.
thing. Huh?
And it is to have the best friend there.
Right.
That is.
Yeah.
That makes it just,
Well, congratulations. And
Yes,
so now
congrats.
you've got another hurdle that
Oh,
you're looking at.
yeah.
Not a hurdle. No, but another opportunity
Well,
that
it's
you're looking at.
another
and-
adventure, another season. And I look back at my life, and my life has been full of seasons from one thing to the next. Of course, I used to work with your father.
Absolutely.
And that's how I met your mother, and,
Right.
and think the world of them both. And of course,
She'll be at your house for a week. with-
I just found that
So
out.
glad you said that,
Just
Dan.
found that out, Anna. Who knew?
She'll enjoy you. I promise.
I need to tell Beverly.
Right.
Can you help me break it to her?
No, don't tell Beverly. Don't tell Beverly.
But no, I look forward to seeing her when she comes into town, and just so many precious memories through
Right.
the years. And of course, spent I don't know how many years in my second life doing the news in Chattanooga
Right.
on Fox, and spent how many years working with your father at the communications center at the church headquarters, and traveling and just making memories and doing ministry. And now I've left the news business and went to work for the mayor,
That's right.
and enjoyed that. And now as another season's come along, and of course most people probably know by now The person who holds the seat that I'm running for has decided to seek another office.
Right.
Eric Watson's running for sheriff, and so it's an open seat. So I have been urged to seek that position, and so threw my hat in the ring, and we'll see if I get it back. I don't
There you
know.
go. Well, exciting times
yes,
for those
yes.
of you who don't know. That is District 22,
District
and that
22.
covers Meigs,
Polk, and
Polk,
Bradley.
and Bradley.
Most
parts
of
Park,
Bradley.
right? Most of Bradley. You've got
Yeah.
the outside of Bradley.
The
pretty
rural
much so,
part.
right.
If it's inside the city limits, it belongs to Kevin Brooks, and he's a
Right.
friend of mine.
Right.
And I
he's
give him.
he's an all right guy.
Yeah. He's I kid him a lot. I tell him I taught him everything he knows because he was my student at Lee University.
Oh, wow.
I taught part-time radio and TV speech, and he took my class. It was an elective. I don't know why he chose to take my class, but he did. But I kid him a lot.
Well,
you know
Joe
what?
does too. Now, Joe's claims
That's right. Now, this is
responsibility
what's
because he
unique.
did an infomercial.
No. He did the
What
parade with
Oh, the parade is
with
right.
Melissa Woody and I one year.
Yeah.
His first time on TV, and I think he was still a student at Lee maybe at the time. And so I kind of take that I got him into being a speaker and to be able to present himself, and so I take that credit. I said I kind of feel like responsible for getting you elected,
Off of
Kevin.
one parade, and
And
now
now-
he took his class.
Come to
Now,
find out.
What I'm saying is that Dan and I have
Yeah.
mentored this Brooks
A
guy.
joint effort. Yeah.
Yes, that's why.
And it took great effort on both our parts.
Oh, goodness gracious. And we're still working on
That's
him,
right. So
folks.
Kevin, just say thank you.
That's
all
right.
we're
That's
saying.
all you got to do.
That's what we're
Yeah, there you
saying.
go. But
Love
it's been fun, and I'm on a leave of absence
Okay.
now from the mayor's office, and so my job is to campaign.
To campaign. And I saw that you started it the other morning
I
having
did.
breakfast. I
I
was like, and
did.
so it begins. I
And
posted
so it
on your
begins.
Facebook.
That's
There you
exactly
go.
right.
So that's exhausting work.
It is hard
but
work.
it's very, very fulfilling.
I love to meet people. I love people, and I've discovered years ago when I was in the news business, everybody, I don't care who they are, where they come from, everybody has a story.
Right.
And that's the part of the campaigning that I like. I like to hear their story. I like to meet them and find out where they came from and what makes them unique. And every one of us is unique. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that I like. But it can be physically and mentally exhausting at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. Just 8 months to go.
Just 8 months ago, that's what we're, now that's for the primary because
Yeah,
you do have
primaries-
competition. You have some
primaries in August.
competition
Yes, we
there.
do.
And so the primary is in August of 2014.
I believe it's August 7th. That's about 8 months away.
He
And
knew exactly what day that was on.
I'm
That
trying
was
to
the
keep up.
politician going, I believe
I'm not-
it was the 7th.
I'm not
August
quite-
7th.
I'm not quite as bad as Mayor Davis. Now, his primary, of course, I worked for Mayor Davis for
Right.
a number of years, but his primary is in May. And you could go right now and ask him, and he'd say, well, it's so many months, so many days, and so many hours.
Right.
He would tell you that.
Exactly when it is. So, of course, that's the time. Now, as a state representative, what's your job as our representative? What do you what do you represent for us? I mean, a lot of people don't know exactly what you guys do up there in Nashville.
Well, a representative is the people's voice
right.
in Nashville. It's a representative. A lot of people say, well, the United States is a democracy. Well, it's not.
Right.
It wasn't founded as a democracy. We use democratic principles to elect our representatives, but we are a representative republic, and the states take the same form as the federal government. But as a representative, you represent the voice of the people in the districts. The state is divided into various districts, and my district, District 22, would be the rural part of Bradley County, Meigs and Polk counties. And there's some wonderful people that live in those areas. Hard-working, salt of the earth, who are concerned about issues such as lower government. We have a creeping monstrosity. Government just keeps encroaching on our lives, and I'm a conservative Republican. I believe in less government and lower taxes. I'm sorry, I do. If you believe otherwise, I'm sorry. Don't vote for me, because that's what you're going to get if you vote for me. Less government and lower taxes.
Right.
And there will be various issues that will come up during the course of the legislative session. And you listen to the voice of the people, and my plan would be to have various listening sessions throughout the district and listen to the people and find out, how do you feel about this issue? Something as such as education. How do you feel about education? Tell me what your concerns are. Do you think our education system is doing a good job? And there will be issues that come before the legislature that will have to be voted on and approved. There are things already in the pipeline now that will
Yes.
be voted on. And so you listen to the people and you cast the people's vote in Nashville.
Right.
That's what a representative does. And the issue of state income tax, you know, I'm opposed to a state income tax.
I am
If
too.
you're
No,
for
no,
it,
no,
I'm
no.
sorry, I'm against it. But that's coming up in the upcoming election in 14. That'll be on the ballot, whether or not to install a constitutional amendment in the Tennessee Constitution that a state income tax will be forever outlawed. Well, I think that's a good idea.
But yes, I do too.
I just think it's a good idea. So that's in a nutshell, that's what a representative does. They try to act as the voice of the people, and my plan is to try to stay as close to the people as possible, not forget where I came from, and always listen to the people. And I hear a lot of complaints. Well, you know, people get elected, then they don't know us anymore. They don't hear us anymore. Well, there are certain key people that whose voice I trust, that they already have my cell phone number for one thing, and they will continue to have my cell phone number. And if they need to talk to me, I will be approachable and reachable, and we can talk about things.
See, and that I think is the key too, because I'll never forget talking with her dad, may he rest in peace. One time we were talking about the issues that were involved within that church, and how the different people are thinking different things, and they're trying to get everybody to agree on this thing. And he said, the reality is you cannot get 5 different women to agree on motherhood. So you're not going to get everybody to agree. So in your case, you've got the same issue. You've got a lot of people that think this way, but some that are going to talk to you and say, well, I think it should be this way. So you're not going to be able to make everybody happy.
No, you
but I
can't.
think what's in the...
They aren't going to know that until after August the 7th. Right
Kim,
now,
Kim,
he's
people
going to
are
make
not-
everybody
people are
I'm
not
happy.
going to
dumb.
be able to do that. I'm going to
That's right.
make.
He's going to make everybody.
Well, that's where I was going with
Joe,
this.
oh my gosh.
You can't until you elect Dan Howell. That's what I was trying to go with it, guys. Come on, let me finish.
I didn't set it up right. I'm sorry.
That's right. I was trying to help you here. But I mean, in the idea of it, though, it's really where it's got to be what's best for us. Some
Yeah.
people may think. Some people go what's best for them.
Yeah,
but it's
right.
got to be what's best for the whole.
The collective good
Yes.
is what you look for.
Yes.
And there are issues that certain groups of people, and some of them are known as special interests, but the
Yes.
truth is we all have special interests.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So you try to find the overarching common good that it benefits everybody.
And education's going to be your tough one.
Education's tough.
Because I mean, we've got
It
some
is.
teachers that are not real happy in the
I know. Well,
in the
I-
elementary, and you know. and
I'm
the-
married to a teacher.
Okay,
There
so
you
you
go,
hear it a
see?
lot, don't you?
I get a debriefing every day.
Yes, yes. There has been a lot of controversy over the new core systems
Yeah,
that have been
Common
in place.
Core and all of those
right.
things. And I personally, when it comes to education, and I'm glad that my wife agrees with me on this because
Right,
she is a
'cause you
teacher.
just hate to have to tell her how wrong she was,
Yeah, I hate to get a divorce. 'cause
even though it's her job.
I
But
really
you know.
do love her. But I believe the best education is one that's governed locally.
Right.
You know, it started out that way years ago, and somehow along the way we grew into a monstrosity, and now, well, I don't know how to fix it other than the fact that I believe that as long as the parents are in control, working together with the local teacher, with the principal, with the local school board, and of course I understand there has to be guidelines coming
Right.
out of the state office, State Board of Education, with regard to curriculum. We have to have certain standards. You know, I want my kids and grandkids to know how to do the multiplication
Shoot,
table.
yeah.
You have to have
Absolutely.
standards, and you want them to be able to read and write by 3rd grade. I mean, it's just common sense.
right.
But there are certain things that I don't want, and I don't want somebody in Washington who is a bureaucrat who may have never spent a day in a classroom telling us in Cleveland and Bradley County and Meigs County and Polk County what we ought to teach our kids. We know best.
Right.
And I've always felt that way, and that's what I'm going to fight for.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
That is, and people don't realize that there are so many issues that affect us that one vote the wrong way could make it a complete mess. So you've really got to look at it as a whole. And education is such a very important part, I guess, of our
And
society.
it's so
It's got-
contentious. You've
It
got
is.
so many different
is.
sides
So
of
many
that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I will promise you this. You know, they say as a politician, never make a promise.
That's right.
I'm going to promise you this. I will never vote to pass a bill so we can find out what's in it.
Well, there you go.
Good point there.
There you go. Because when you
I
open
believe
that
that's
puppy,
the famous Pelosi line.
Yes,
We got to pass this bill
Bill,
so we
can find out what's in it. Dadgummit, that's
Yeah,
no,
I won't
be
we're not
voting
going to
for
do
this.
that. No,
Well,
no, we're gonna trust Dan
and
with
true, in our area, and the great thing is, we are lucky in our area because education has taken a front seat. And at one point, we were not as happy around here education-wise as it has become of late.
Yeah.
And thank goodness to our superintendents, Johnny McDaniel, who's a good friend, Dr. Martin Ringstaff of the Cleveland City, Johnny of the county, and what they've worked together to make our schools in this area schools of excellence.
Oh, yeah.
Kay said it yesterday. When people come to buy real estate, they'll always say to her, "What's a good school to go to?" And she says, "Look, any school in our county or
Pick
in
one.
our city,
Yeah.
Pick
one.
they're great. Anywhere
one.
you want to
Yeah.
live, they're all good."
Inside the city, outside the city, it doesn't matter. They're
Yeah.
all good. And we are fortunate to have the kind of leadership that we have in the local school systems.
And Dan, you've worked for the mayor, and
Yeah.
you've been an integral part of what has been going on in the city, and you've seen, and you know how special Bradley County
Oh, it
is.
is.
I
It
mean,
is.
we are so special, and I think that our government, our leaders, you know, our school system has done that, and we're just proud to know Dan that he's gonna fight the good fight and run that race.
Well, thank you. It's a challenge, but we're going to give it our best shot. I was blessed. I think we may do this in the next segment, but
Right.
here I'm taking over.
Yeah,
as
no,
a-
no, you're right.
No,
I'm
in the
letting
next
James
segment,
know that
that's-
too. James,
right,
we're going to
James,
play
we're
that in
gonna
the
do
next
this in
segment.
the
in the
next
next
segment,
But
right.
coming up, I want to play something for you. I had an event and had a good crowd of supporters. And I was encouraged a few days ago, and a guy named Chip Salzman came to town. He heard I was running, and I'll tell you a little bit about Chip in the next segment. But we got a little clip of him and some things that he said that I think would be interesting.
All right, we got to pay for this stuff.
Well, real quick, before you do that, I do want to tell you folks this, and I don't want you to be alarmed, just so
Okay,
you
don't
know
be
this.
alarmed.
All right? I've got Dan's cell number.
Ah,
So, remember you saying earlier, just don't be alarmed about
So if
that.
you wanna
I
reach
ain't
me-
got a cell
if
number.
you want to reach me, call Joe.
Call Joe. He doesn't answer his phone though, guys. So there you go.
Okay, let's do this. Let's take a break if you're ready, James. We'll take a break, and we'll do that in the next segment. We're going to come back with more of Dan Howell, and we still got Ron Moore on the way.
Well, that's
here
right.
on
He's
this
in the
middle of the
house.
week
He's growing a
Wednesday.
beard too. I got the bearded man.
I
with me.
saw
Did
that.
you
He-
see
when he-
that?
when he came
Yep,
in,
I
yeah.
did too.
Very
So,
distinguished looking.
I know.
Oh, he is.
I'm going to have to behave.
I'm telling you. All right, we're going to be back with more of, I was going to say Football Friday, thinking of Ron. We're going to be back with more Tennessee Valley this morning when we return after this message. Please stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning. We are joined with Dan Howell for our next segment here, candidate for Tennessee House Representative, District 22, as you can see on your screen. And Dan, we were talking in the last segment about, of course, a little bit about yourself, personal part. Now let's talk about the state part of running for state representative.
Okay.
Different things that are there in Nashville that you see, situations that you think need to be changed.
Well, I've been fortunate to serve on the state executive committee for the Republican Party. I served with Chairman Chris Devaney, and I was elected in 2010. That was a public election, so I guess that proves that I'm electable.
That's right. He's been voted for before.
So that district covers Bradley, Polk, McMinn, and Meigs counties. But I will be giving up the state executive committeeman position, and someone else will run for that. But as a part of the SEC, I've had an opportunity to interact with the leaders, our state leaders, you know, at the top level, and it's been interesting to see. I think overall Tennessee has excellent leadership, but we have some challenges. We have some real challenges. But when you understand that coming from 5 years ago to where we are now, that we are rated in the top 3 best managed states in the United States. Top 3. That says a lot.
It does say a lot.
We don't go in debt. Our per capita debt in Tennessee is like $900 per person. That's nothing when you compare, not that it's nothing, I don't mean that.
No, but no.
Compared to the federal per capita debt of $53,000 per person. Right. Can you imagine if we all had to go borrow $53,000 to pay off the federal debt, and they'd just borrow more?
Right, right.
If we did. We don't go in debt to buy our road, pay for our roads, pave new roads. We never have. We pay as you go. And that's important. Other states look at Tennessee and say, how do you do that? Well, we just tighten our belt, and that's the way we do it. But despite that, Tennessee is rated in the top 5 by the Truckers Association. These guys know roads. Right. They know roads. We're rated in the top 5 best roads in the United States.
Wow. So
there's a lot of good things that are going on in Tennessee. Voted one of the top 5 best places to retire now. Wow. So Tennessee is coming on strong, and I was encouraged to see Governor Haslam several days ago. We're in the budget hearings now, and one of the things that he has announced as his priority is to upgrade the teachers' pay. Tennessee for years has been well below national average, and these are the people. And of course, again, full disclosure, I'm married to a teacher. But these are the people who educate our future leaders, our future presidents, our future governors, our scientists, our doctors, and we start them out at maybe a statewide average of $30,000 a year, but we'll pay a 21-year-old who can catch a football $10 million.
That's what bothers
is something
Well, Dan, he can really catch a football.
And it's entertaining.
And he can score a touchdown.
It's entertaining.
Yeah,
especially
I can have
if he
a conversation with Beverly, I'm sure.
Especially if he plays for the Dolphins.
That's exactly right. I totally understand. Go ahead.
But there's some things that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
And these are some issues that I'm sure will be voted on in the future. But I've been fortunate to be able to serve in that area in the state, and it's put me in touch with a lot of people that have taught me a lot of things. And
now we have a video, right?
We do have a video. Yeah,
okay.
Chip Saltzman. I don't know if you know who Chip is or not, but Chip is a former chairman of the Tennessee Republican Party. Chris Devaney is the current chairman, and I didn't serve with Chip. I was elected after Chris was elected. But Chip then went on from being chairman of the Republican Party. He worked for U.S. Senator Frist. He ran Mike Huckabee's presidential campaign. He ran U.S. Congressman Chuck Fleischman's congressional campaign. He served as Congressman Fleischman's chief of staff, and then he quit that job, and he is a contributing commentator. I call him Talking Head. You're Talking Head.
Right.
On Fox News.
Okay.
You see him on Chris Wallace, Sunday Morning with Chris Wallace and Hannity and those type shows. But his home and his office is in Nashville. He has his own consulting firm now. But anyway, I was so pleased when word got out that I was going to run, and the phone rang one day, and it was my cell phone, and somehow Chip got my cell phone number.
He called
I
Joe.
gave it to him. I hope you don't mind.
But he called my cell, and he said, "Hey, Dan, this is Chip." And hey, you know, we visited a while. And he said, "Well, I heard you're thinking of running." And he said, "If you do, I want to come over and give you an endorsement." So coming from a former chairman of the Republican Party in Tennessee, naturally I didn't say, no. I said, "Come on over." So that happened just recently, and I have a little clip of some of his comments, and I think you might find it interesting. I hope so.
All right.
This is important. Elections are important. And y'all obviously have a lot of respect for Dan, or you wouldn't be here. He's a person that knows who he is. He knows what he believes. And he knows what needs to be done in Nashville to help Cleveland, Bradley County, and Polk County, and all the other counties in this area to make it a better place. I lived in Cleveland in 1998. We landed at the new airport tonight. And we drove in, and I didn't even hardly recognize where I was going. And I kept on going, what's that? What happened here? Who built that? Cleveland has exploded over the last decade. And that's because of good leadership. If we're truly going to be successful as a community and as a state, and as a country, we have to elect more men and women that think about the next generation instead of the next election. The reason it's important is because think of all the troubles that we have in our country right now. And I know everybody sits and watches TV or reads the newspaper or looks at a blog or goes online and goes, well, I would do that different. If Kay was up there, we'd all be in good shape. Yeah. No question. But sending Dan to Nashville is like sending one of you to Nashville. Because he is one of you. He's your neighbor. He's somebody you work with. He's somebody that you go to church with. You know his family. You know his record. And you know that at the end of the day, he cares deeply about this community. He cares deeply about this state. And won't it be nice to have folks in office that care about us and care about the next generation as opposed to worried about what he's going to run for next? And I think that's the kind of person Dan's going to be. And you've got an opportunity to elect a man that will make a difference. You've got an opportunity to elect a man who will go to Nashville and make you proud. He's a conservative, but he's not angry about it. He's principled. He believes in the things we believe in, and I think he's going to make a state rep, a great state rep. But it depends on you. We need to depend on you right now to represent him in y'all's communities. Y'all have got to be his voice for him for the next couple months. Thank y'all for letting me be here and vote for Dan.
There you go.
There
Wonderful.
you go.
Yeah.
Now you have been endorsed.
I have been endorsed.
And
by
so why do
about
you want that job?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you even choose? I mean, to run. I mean, you know, it's a struggle at a lot of times. So tell us why.
It's a stressful process.
Right.
Just getting elected is a
Right.
stressful process. I had to answer that question personally. Why do I want to do this? And I came up with one answer. And it was in the middle of the night. I was mulling this over and praying about it. Beverly and I talked about it, prayed about it. And so I had to settle it in my own heart that why am I doing this? I want to make sure my motive is right. Because if I'm just doing this as a stepping stone to something bigger, I don't need that. It's not a stepping stone. It's not a career path for me. And I came up with the reason I'm running is because I love this community so much. And that sounds like a political line, I know, but let me explain. You folks know my story. Mm-hmm. You know back in August of '07, my youngest son, Randy, died. And then almost 6 months to the day, my wife died, Carol, died of breast cancer. And you know, because you've known me a long time, you know what kind of a tailspin that put me into. My life was over. I went into a very dark place. I had no reason to live. I really didn't, because you know, the two people I cared for were gone. And when you get into that place, you forget, well, there are grandkids and there are two other sons that you love very much that still need you, but you don't see that. All you can think about is your loss. And so I was in a deep, dark place. And this community pulled me out of that. Within a 24-hour period, there was over 400 people that came through my door. And some people just came and they'd sit on the couch and not say anything. They'd just come and sit, and I could feel their presence and let me know that they loved me. Some people stepped up and just did some extraordinary things for me, just to let me know that they cared and they loved me. And I remember thinking then what an extraordinary community this is. You touched on it earlier. This is an extraordinary community, not just in the schools, but the character of this community is extraordinary. And it's unlike any place I've ever been. I'm fortunate that my family's all from West Tennessee, but I got to Cleveland as quick as I could. You know, I've been here 40-some years. There's no place like this place. People genuinely care for you, and they show it through their actions. I call it the body of Christ in action. And they loved me back into the sunlight. And life is good again. And life is good again. And so I'm in a place where I feel like I can give a little bit back. And so I've decided, if God is pleased with what I'm doing, then I'll run for state representative, and I can serve a while, and then when the people are done with me, I'll go home.
Throw you back.
I'll go home and sit on the porch swing with Beverly, and we'll drink tea.
There you go. There you go.
So that's why I'm running. That's the truth.
And I can see that, because I mean, you went through horrific, devastating circumstances, and this town is like that. They have been. When my dad died, when my dad died, the whole community. I was on the front page. He died early in the morning, and by print time that morning, they had the story on the front page of the paper, and he was in Florida at the time. And just the response that we got from the community here was unbelievable. And you have been involved with public office, and as far as on the council on there, so you know your politics and you know your way around, and you want that. I mean, you do. You want that. I do. I want somebody in Nashville that knows what they're doing. You know, and knows. And you do know our community. You do know the needs here, and that you've got, I think you'll have a good voice. So
well, thank you,
good
Kim.
luck to you.
Thank you. I think I understand the values of this community and the character of this community, and my sole purpose is to represent that value and that character in Nashville and be the voice of the people. And if you feel so inclined, I'd love to have you vote. I have a website, Dan4Tennessee, DANFOR, spell out Tennessee.com. On Facebook, we're all on Facebook.
Oh, Joe's not. But he lives through he's mad because my profile picture I changed. My mom.
Listen to this.
My mom and I went to the Holy Land Experience in Florida, and so I took pictures. So anyway, I changed my profile picture to that on it. And Joe's mad because it's me and my mom.
Her profile picture on Facebook is her and her mother. Nowhere in there is her husband.
There are pictures of him on my
way down. Somebody
anyway,
sent
you've got a Facebook page.
Facebook page is facebook.com/Dan4Tennessee.
Dan4Tennessee.
And come on there and like the page. We'll get acquainted. If you got any questions, send me a private message. Be glad to answer your questions. And thank you so much, Kim,
Thanks for being
for letting
on.
me come
Good luck.
Thank you.
Folks, and we do know we can endorse too. We can speak for Dan.
We can do whatever we want to.
Can I get that on tape?
We can do whatever we want to.
Absolutely. He would be very, very good, because I do know you do have your thumb on what's going on, working with Mayor Davis, which is a great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
And I know that's going to be hard leaving him there.
It is.
But yeah, you've got it on the pulse to know what's going on, and that's what we need, somebody that knows what's happening.
Thank you.
And somebody else is Ron Moore. And
he's up next.
He's up next.
I don't think he's running for anything, except maybe the law is running from the law.
Yeah, he may not know what's going on now, but he knew what went on in the past.
He knows exactly.
The history.
If he doesn't, his wife Debbie does.
Yeah, that's true.
But thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to be back with Ron Moore when we return after this. Stay tuned.
Town Crown Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley's. Well, go ahead, Ron, share that with everyone during the break there. Ron was sharing us more history.
Somewhere in my presentation, I will bring that up. Yeah.
But we are joined
I like the beard. I got two bearded men right here that I'm between. Yeah. I know.
We're all. I noticed that on Football Friday. We've all have beards except for Mitchell.
I was liking it a lot, so if I walked through the mall and the little kitty yelled, "Santa Claus!" You ain't getting nothing this year.
Mitzi gets that all the time. Yeah. But we are joined by Ron Moore, our local historian here on WTMB Tennessee Valley This Morning. And of course, every Wednesday he imparts some history on us.
That's right.
Today we're going to talk about something very timely.
Right. Well, 50 years coming this Friday will be the death of JFK. And there's, just a handful of dates through time that everyone remembers. We all remember Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
December 7th, 1941.
A day that will live in infamy.
Yeah. We'll remember the Twin Towers coming down, and it's just 9/11. Pretty much just those two words there together. And then, of course, JFK, November 22nd, 1963, around 1 o'clock Dallas time, I believe it was, to be there. And Joe, you mentioned it while we were talking, is he was the first, and he's the only president ever administered the last rites.
That's right.
Because he's been the only Roman Catholic president ever elected. Episcopalians have the honor of having the most elected, and the Methodists have 4 or 5, and the Baptists have a few there, but he's the only Catholic ever elected to be the president, and which was a pretty amazing thing back in those days that had happened here. He was the very first president assassinated after they assigned the Secret Service to the duty of protecting the president. The first 3 presidents that were assassinated did not have protection of the Secret Service. It's pretty interesting to find out, that Abraham Lincoln had 4 attempts on his life, and one about in January before his April murder. So pretty interesting that. And of course, the other presidents are Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield, and William McKinley, 1901, when that happened. LBJ took the oath of office, of course, on Air Force One, we're there with Jackie, and with the body being brought onto there. That was 99 minutes after his death.
That was so surreal, too,
Right.
if you remember.
And the justice who, the U.S. court judge in that area was a lady, and I can't remember her name now, but she cried through the whole swearing-in ceremony. It was something else. And I wanted to read this. This was going to be his speech, his final words that night. This is what he said, and I think this is, I wish Congress would listen to this. Neither the fanatics nor the faint-hearted are needed. And our duty as a party is not to our party alone, but to the nation, and indeed to all mankind. Our duty is not merely the preservation of political power, but the preservation of peace and freedom. So let us not be petty when our case is so great. Let us not quarrel among ourselves when our nation's future is at stake. Let us stand together with renewed confidence in our cause, united in our heritage of the past and our hopes for the future, and determined that this land we shall lead all mankind into new frontiers of peace and abundance. Boy, isn't that timely today?
It is today.
If our
It really
Congress
is.
would listen to this over and over and over, is that the preservation of political power isn't what it's about. It's the preservation of peace and freedom, and to that. So I just thought I wanted to read that. That was going to be his final speech on that Friday night there in Dallas. Jackie's pink pantsuit has never been cleaned.
Oh, wow.
It is still stored in the National Archives, but you will not be able to see it, nor anyone in the public will be able to see it until 2103. That's not a typo, or I did misquote. 2103 before that can be shown to the public, and that's per the request of the family.
Wow, I wonder why.
So many of them will be.
Well,
the
just
generations
some
will be
the
turned
protection
over,
of it.
right,
Yeah,
and
just something
right.
they wanted to do.
Wow.
The rifle that killed Kennedy cost $19.95, and just bought off. You could buy it through mail
Right.
order back
Mail
in those
order, yeah.
days, and you can't do that now.
Almost.
Jack Ruby murdered Oswald
Right.
on Sunday, and it was the very first homicide ever caught on live television.
I remember that.
Remember, and I think that one of the reasons that we remember the JFK is because he was the first true television president. You remember that during the debates with Nixon and him, that Nixon had a very bad sweating problem, particularly on his upper lip, and he just never looked great.
Right.
Not saying that he wasn't capable of debating with Kennedy. Kennedy just had a smoother look to him, and had that younger,
Handsome.
aloof,
Yes,
handsome guy.
handsome, right.
And so everything went his way, and then they became what we called Camelot.
Right.
She was this gorgeous, beautiful woman, and they had these beautiful children. And the day that JFK was buried was Little John's birthday. Did you know that?
I think I've heard that before, but every time I hear it, I try to.
Standing there, just that'll break you up. That'll make me
That
cry
was
now.
his
Oh,
birthday.
well, Joe, get it together, buddy. Buck up.
And that night, later that night, about 12 o'clock, Robert and Jackie went back to the grave. So,
I just can't imagine. Because it was Camelot, and they were living the American dream in every which way, and just to be taken so quickly.
Well,
This week, of course, we've been seeing a lot because it is the anniversary, and every time you turn on the television, and her crawling on the back of the car because
Right.
she was in such shock. To see that happen right beside her, and her just in such shock and
there are people who have
scared.
quoted those words, and there's every kind of theory out there, and I don't know. The latest one's called the smoking gun, where they believe
Grassy knoll.
where the actually a Secret Service may have accidentally discharged his firearm, and what really actually killed the president.
Oh, really? Now I haven't heard
yeah,
that
that's a new one. And they know the guy's name. He picked up an AR-15 out of the seat, and when he did, the car stopped, and he lunged forward and fired the weapon, and they believe that's the shot that may have killed Kennedy now. And so there are all kind of theories, and of course we'll never solve exactly what it was, and there are all kind of arguments about it, but yeah, you wonder what would happen if JFK had lived. I mean, was he going to, what would his legacy been? Would he have been the greatest president ever since Abraham Lincoln, or would there have been a scandal or problem? You know, we have presidents apparently in their second term have not done very well over the years, you know, and we won't mention any of the latest and the most current fiascos, but and there's some interesting things, and I won't go through all of them, but you know, that Lincoln and Kennedy was 100 years apart. They both had a vice president named Johnson.
Oh, well, that's true.
Lincoln was killed in a theater Ford, and Kennedy was killed in a Ford. Or in a Lincoln. I mean, oh yeah. Right. And there are just numerous things, and the Booth ran from a theater and hid in a warehouse, and Oswald ran from a warehouse and hid in a theater.
Oh, see?
They're just, I mean, people have too much time on their hands to study
right,
all
That
this.
is very, you know, but you have to, there was a lot of tragedy, though, that befell the Kennedy family. I mean, just one thing after another. It was like, are they cursed? But yeah, there were so many things, so stuff like that can almost be like, whoa.
I know.
You know?
Now, I was just 3. Joe was 5, but you were in the 4th grade.
I was in the 4th grade at Oak Grove Elementary.
Did they
I
tell
had
you
went to
during
the
school?
restroom.
Oh, you've gone to the restroom.
You know how you had to sneak out with
Right,
your
right.
So I went to the restroom, and I'm coming back down the hall, and the teachers, and there were some crying out there. And I said, and that's what happened. So I went and made the announcement to Mrs. Lee's 4th grade class that the president had been shot.
The president had been shot.
Yeah. And back at Oak Grove, many, many years later, I'm there with my daughter who attended Oak Grove also when she was in about the 3rd grade. I'm sitting in the cafeteria on those chairs with my knees above my head because they're a little tiny there. And I said something, I was here at this school when John Kennedy got shot, right here. And so, you know, somehow the interpretation got lost because the little girl turned and said, what did he say? She said, Ashley's daddy was here when Jeff Kennedy was killed, right out here in the hallway. So sometimes you have to explain history a little more.
Slower.
Yeah.
And into detail, but it is, I mean, it's a historic week. I mean, of course, you can't turn on anything without seeing that. And, you know, back then, I laugh, right now, a president can't get by with anything, really, you know, for maybe the last 10 years. But back in Kennedy's day and all of that, you know, the press didn't tell everything they knew.
You protected the president.
Yes, you protect, that office was sacred.
And FDR was one of those examples. They never filmed him being carried between the cars and things because he could not walk. And so, you know, literally he had to be carried from his car in different places, and he had a big bodyguard who really just picked him up and carried him around. So they didn't show that.
Used to like to dress up in Indian stuff. Nobody, you know, it's just they're.
And if you're interested in assassinations, just go and put presidential assassinations in a search engine, and you'll find that we've had numerous presidents attacked, and Obama has had the most threats of any president since the Secret Service has been formed.
Wow. That has to be a full-time, a hard job.
And they're saying it's like 4 to 1, you know, being the most, you know. Of course, you know, Ronald Reagan, the attempt on his life, and he had several attempts made on his life, and Gerald Ford, and, you know, you just go down through the list, but, you know, Lincoln actually had 4. He got, actually, one of them went right by his head through his stovepipe hat. And missed, and so that's back when he just got in a horse and buggy, and he just got out and rode around town, you know, and there might be a couple of soldiers riding around with him or something of that nature.
Well, of course, you know, we're about out of time. Very, very interesting, and I'm glad you brought, because it is. It's kind of an anniversary you don't like to acknowledge, but you need to. Because
Well, it's a big
part of our history.
It's a very big part of our history. That a lot of things changed from that forward. What would happen if, you know, Vietnam, would it have been different or not? We don't know.
We don't know.
We really don't know.
Well, folks, we're going to leave. We want to thank Ron for being with us. Of course, Dan Howell as well. Have yourself a good rest of the day. We'll see you next Wednesday on Tennessee Valley This Morning. Thanks for watching.